The suspect in the Club Q shooting has pleaded guilty to the mass shooting, avoiding a trial.
I hope we get the death penalty out of this, because even that is more than this monster deserves.
We have the suspect's sentence, the chances for federal charges, and more reaction from victims.
And in another case, today a huge bond was set for a man accused of killing 3 family members as other relatives sat in the courtroom. We'll have their reaction.
He killed a suspect who was trying to drive away, and now that former officer faces a murder charge.
There were 5 lives lost on November 20th to an act of hate in Colorado Springs. We won't forget Daniel Aston, Kelly Loving, Derek Rump, Ashley Paugh, and Raymond Vance Green. There are also 17 more left with lasting injuries, if not physically, certainly emotionally. The shooting at Club Q affected so many lives, but today some closure and relief for some after a guilty plea from the shooter, Anderson Aldrich.
Not only did Aldridge get 5 life sentences for the deaths, but the judge also handed down 2,208 years for the 46 attempted murder charges.
So tonight at 5, we start with team coverage, not only the details from the courtroom today, but also reactions from the survivors. We'll start with Jeremy Hohola.
Yeah, a very emotional day for people who survived the mass shooting and for people who got the worst news of their lives this past November. November 19th was the day. It is remarkable that this case has concluded on the state level with the maximum sentence under Colorado law, allowed under Colorado law, and less than a year since the incident. The judge sentenced the shooter, Anderson Lee Aldrich, to 5 consecutive life sentences for the 5 people killed, and then another 2,208 years for the nearly 50 attempted murder charges. The shooter, who identifies as non-binary and uses they-them pronouns, also got another 3 years for hate crime charges. And while this case concludes on the state level, the criminal case against the shooter continues on the federal level. The FBI has opened up a hate crimes investigation, and that could mean the death penalty for the shooter. The district attorney said he believes the shooter suddenly claimed they identified as non-binary to avoid hate crime prosecution.
The targets inside Club Q were not political slogans. They weren't ideological pawns in some bigger game. They were people. Each person inside that club, like all of us, held the inherent right to life that we all hold dear.
For now, the Colorado Springs Police Department says they will not release any documents or video at the request of federal prosecutors. Also, in the meantime, the shooter declined to make any statements in court today, instead giving a statement through their attorney saying that they are sorry for all the people killed. Live in Colorado Springs, Jeremy Hohola, 9 News.
Yeah, just as was the case back in November, this story continues to resonate far beyond Colorado Springs. Thank you very much, Jeremy.
This ruling can't take away that night, nor can it change the lingering pain, physical and emotional, that still exists amongst those who survived and are still trying to recover. 9 News' Kelly Brinke talked with 2 survivors and continues our coverage live from Colorado Springs.
Hey there. So Ed Sanders was shot in the back and the leg. He says that night he played dead so that the shooter would not come back and hurt him again. Today, inside the courtroom, he walked in with a cane and stood feet away from the person who caused him so much pain. Ed today tells me that he's very relieved that this part of the court process is over and he's satisfied with the sentencing the judge issued. He says he came today to find closure, but what he didn't find, Ed says, was any remorse from the shooter.
The only thing that came out of him was from his lawyer that he was remorseful. But that rings hollow when I remember him shooting wildly at us. He didn't win. He's not going to win. He's lost. He's a loser.
Ed plans to come back to Club Q once it reopens. He feels it's so important to show the community that this person didn't shut them down or scare them away. Like Jeremy mentioned, the police department does not plan to release any additional video or documents at this time because of that federal investigation. But Ed says he's one of those people that has been able to look at that video that has not been released. And Alex, he says he was surprised to see how many shots were fired. He doesn't remember that from his experience inside the club.
The courage of those survivors to speak today is incredible. Kelly, thank you. You know, there's a memorial for the victims that's been planned, but it's still waiting for the city's approval. The owner of the club says there will be 5 pillars with names of the people who were killed, along with a pride flag, lights, and a rock garden. The owner says they're already fundraising for the anticipated $250,000 cost.
We now turn to a 21-year-old man accused of killing his family last fall. He won't be getting out of jail. Today, a judge set a $9 million cash bond. Because of a Colorado Supreme Court ruling last week, she had to set a bond, even though Chris Martinez is facing 3 first-degree murder charges. Katie Eastman was there in that courtroom and joining us now with more. Katie?
Yeah, Tom, relief is what the family feels today, and they are the family of the victims and the defendant. Chris Martinez is accused of killing 2 of his half-siblings and his mom. In Arapahoe County Court today, the father of Martinez asked the judge to make sure his son doesn't get out, because although that is his son, Martinez is accused of killing his dad's other son, Caden Castaneda. According to the arrest affidavit, Martinez told his grandmother he stabbed and shot his half-brother Caden, his half-sister Marisol Espinola, and his mom Estencia Martinez when he was blackout drunk. The judge set the bond at $9 million because she said there are significant community safety concerns based on journal messages and statements about what Martinez would do if he got out of jail. The dads of Caden and Marisol want their stories to stay alive.
Caden was the mini bike king of Bandamere, because at the KBPI Rock and Roll Car Show, Caden would always bring his mini bike and my mini bike, and we'd always race down Bandamere, and Chris would be there. I love him so much because he's my son, but I hate for what he did, so I hate him for that, but I don't hate him as my son. I hate what he did.
My daughter's one of a kind. She was an angel before she became an angel. She's gonna be walking with me forever. Because I look at her and I smile, and I'm like, it's my angel's with me. You know, every night I look at her and I give her the kiss.
Martinez has not been officially charged yet. His arraignment was pushed back to August 14th.
Hard to hear those conflicting emotions from those people. Katie, thanks for the update today.
And now former LaSalle police officer has been charged for the shooting death of a suspect this spring. The indictment says on May 3rd, Officer Eric Hernandez was one of 2 officers to be called to check out a car parked at a Family Dollar. The VIN number was obscured and there was no record for its out-of-state plates. The court documents say the officers went into the store, saw the 2 people in the back, and one of them started running. The indictment says Hernandez saw the suspect, Justin Reffel, in the car outside starting to drive away, and Hernandez fired 4 shots, killing Reffel inside the car. The indictment reads the officer was not justified in his actions, and he now faces a 2nd-degree murder charge. Hernandez has now been fired and is due in court August 23rd. A former Colorado police officer already accused of sexually assaulting a female officer now faces a host of new charges tonight. The Jefferson County District Attorney announced Nathan Geerdes faces 10 additional charges of forgery and attempting to influence a public servant. He worked for the Edgewater and Black Hawk police departments. He allegedly falsified official documents and tried to influence 5 public servants in 2021. He is due in court July 5th.